Here we go. Have a good night.
So maybe don't take off your pants and clothes. You can play all of these riffs fully clothed. I guess you can play them naked if you want. Say it ain't so. Blink is back, baby. And if you're like me and can't afford Blink-182 tickets, this video is gonna let you rip on some iconic Blink riffs on your own, so you too can be a prime target to be abducted by aliens. I think these riffs are just incredible to work on. They all have wonderful techniques and tricks that every guitar player should be spending some time on. And for me, it's nostalgic. I'm just instantly brought back to my youth, first learning the guitar and wanting to learn these really great guitar parts. If you're a guitarist that's struggling with picking hand accuracy, these riffs are for you. You will become a much better picker by learning these riffs. Now, I love using riffs to work on specific techniques. That's why we included a whole section of the Guitareo method on learning riffs, so you can learn cool techniques while making music. We have a 7-day free trial where you can check this out at guitareo.com/trial. Now, let's dive into these riffs. So this first riff is actually one of the first riffs I ever learned on the guitar. It is the intro to All the Small Things. If you're wanting to work on jumping all around the neck, this is a great riff to learn. So those first two notes, I just love it. It's 2 power chords, but I don't know, I'm just instantly brought back. The nostalgia kicks in for me when I hear those first 2. So that's from the G power chord, so 3-5-5, going down to an F power chord, 1-3-3. To get that as quick as they're doing is really tough, so you may just want to spend some time on that before even going on to the next part. And then from there, we're gonna go to a C power chord, so that's 3, 5, and 5, and we're gonna strum that 8 times in a row, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so all down picks. From there, you're gonna jump up to an F power chord, which is on the 8th fret, up here. So then you're gonna jump back down to a G power chord, which is 3, 5, and 5. And you're gonna strum this one 9 times because you're gonna 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, finish on the next bar. So. And then we're gonna mute the strings. Don't stress too hard about where you're muting them. You just kind of wanna flatten your fingers out and then go down to an F power chord and hit that twice. I like to kind of keep the power chord shape when I'm muting, so it's easy for me to get to that F, but that's the riff. Put it together, work really hard on getting that jump. Remember, always look at where you're going, not where you are. That'll help with those bigger leaps. Here's one of my absolute favorite riffs from Blink-182. This is the opening riff in What's My Age Again. If you're wanting to work on your picking technique, I mean, this is the song to work on. It's really cool. It uses a trick that Blink-182 or Tom does quite a bit, where you have a moving single note in the lower, like the bass part, I guess, on top of 2 notes that are the same. So we have this 9 on the D string, and then we have 11 and 11. It's a really neat chord shape, actually. It's kind of major 7 thing going on. And basically, all that's gonna change is the first note that you do of this. So you're gonna, in this one, go string 4, 3, 2, 3. All down picks, really fast. You can get creative. This is punk rock music, so like, don't stress super hard about getting the perfect technique. You just kind of wanna figure out a way to make it happen. So we've got this going on. So we've got 4, 3, 2, 3. And then all that's gonna change is your pointer finger's gonna move to the 5th string. And then the top 2 notes are the same. And then for the 3rd one, your pointer's gonna move to the 6th string. So really easy for those first 3. So it's just 4th string, 5th string, 6th, And then for the last one, I like to use my middle finger to go up to the 11th fret, so we're kind of all in a line here. So you're gonna go the 11th, and it's the same top two notes. So it's 6, 3, 2, 3. So all together we have this. Such a great picking exercise. If you're somebody that struggles with picking accuracy, learn this riff. So this next riff is Dammit. It's a really great riff. There are multiple fingering options for this one. I watched a few live videos. He kind of changes where that second note is, depending on which version you're gonna go with, but this is the one we're gonna do. So it's basically just working on a major scale. We also have a very similar kind of concept to the What's My Age Again riff, where we have this moving bass line over the same two kind of higher notes. There's a little tweak at the end, but the concept is still kind of the same. So we start with a C down here on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and we're gonna hit that note 2 times. So it's gonna go 3, 3, and then up to 5. So 3, 3, 5, 5, and then we go to 2 on the 4th string. So we have. And much like the What's My Age Again riff, all that's gonna change is the first note. So instead of being on the 5th string, we're gonna move to the 6th string. Everything else is exactly the same. You just wanna make sure you're picking the right note. Again, more great picking exercises here. So we have. The 3rd time through, this is where the kind of little shift is gonna happen. He's gonna do the open 5th string, or the open A string, and then he's gonna go 0, 0, 2. And he's gonna shift to using his middle finger because it's gonna set him up for the final chord. So up to the 3rd one, we have this. See that shift? It frees me up to get my pointer finger down to the F on the 1st fret of the 6th string. And then to kind of change things up, he flips around the order of the final 2 notes. Instead of going from the D to the E, on the last one, he's gonna go E to D. So let's put this riff together. So we have. And then you just repeat it from there. Some versions, you might see him always using that open D string, so. Do whatever feels best for you. I personally like the control of that 5th fret one, but there's plenty of videos of him using that open string too. Don't be afraid of hitting some extra strings. It makes it sound more punk rocky. So this next one is Dumpweed. This is the opening riff. Love this, it's super fun. This is gonna be another kind of cliche thing that Tom does a lot in Blink-182 songs. He loves messing around with kind of the note and then the like neighboring 3rd on the next string. So this kind of shape. He loves kind of being in there and then sometimes grabbing that, the 5th. So you're gonna see that, especially in the coming riffs, a lot of playing around with that. But we've got the first thing, which is kind of like a bigger like octave chord. So we're gonna hit the 6th string and the 7th fret of the 5th string at the same time, both E's. And I like giving some shakes sometimes because I think it's kind of cool. And then you're gonna go to the 4th string, hit the 6th fret, and then hit the 6th fret again to hammer on to the 7th. So this is a good one to work on your hammer-ons as well. So we have. And then you're gonna pick back to 6. That little move on its own is a great exercise. And then from there, we're gonna do one of my favorite moves in this riff. He's gonna hit the 7th fret of the 6th string, open 5th string. So really interesting. He's actually sound-wise going down, but he's moving up a string. Really, really interesting choice there. And then he's gonna go to the 9th fret of the A string and then back to the open A string. Really cool. So the first part is this. Second part of this riff is exactly the same. You're just gonna leave out that open A at the end. So the second time is this. So part 1 and part 2 sound like this. Now the third and fourth time are kind of modeled off of the first and second time. The only thing that changes is the first note. And again, kind of that other Blink-182 style where the top part stays the same, but the bottom is gonna move. So we have the open A string instead of the low E string to start this riff. So that is completely identical. You're just changing the very first note. So the first and the third time are exactly the same. And then the fourth time, or the last part of this riff, we have kind of an ending outline of a B power chord. So it's the 4th string, 6th, then the 5th. Really cool. It's a tough little move. Again, just like more really great picking stuff to work on, you know, to make those jumps nice and clean. And to be honest, they don't always play it super clean on the recordings, and especially live. Nice part with this music is you don't have to be super precise, but it is a really great way to work on just getting better with that right hand. This next Blink riff is Adam's song. Super cool. The guitar is tuned down a whole step. So D, G, C, F, A, D. So everything is down a whole step. You can of course play this in standard tuning if you'd like. I just love the kind of like deep throaty guitar that comes through when you detune it. So this one, much like, again, one of the tricks that they're using all the time is a moving bass part over the same top part. So you're gonna see that again in this riff. So we are gonna start with a B power chord. We're gonna hit the 5th string and then go to the 4th string and hit the 4th fret and then go to the open 4th string. So just keep in mind that 4-0 because that's gonna come up quite a bit. So we've got our 2-4-0, 2-4-0, and then we're gonna go to the open 5th string and then do the same 4-0. So again, moving bass parts, same top part. So the same thing, we're just gonna move that bass part again. We're gonna go to the 6th string on the 3rd fret and then keep that same top together. And you notice everything's been twice so far. So we've got. Then we're gonna again move the bass line, but we're just gonna break up the pattern a little bit. It won't be 2 times. We're just gonna do 1 time with the open 6th string, or 4-0, and then we're gonna go right back to that 3 again, the G, and then the 4-0. And that's the riff. It just loops like that. So let's put it all together nice and slow. You'll notice I was doing all down picks. That's just in general for these Blink songs, you're probably just gonna do down picks the whole time. Of course, get creative, don't overthink it too much, but maybe defaulted all downs. If you wanna throw some ups, there's no punk police. Do whatever you want. So this next riff is from their one of their early albums, I think the earliest album. It is a tune called Benoit Balls, and it's a deeper cut on this, and it's actually the interlude of this. Most of these have been the intros of songs, but I just love this. I was listening through that album, and this part just caught my ear. Something about it's really cool. We're gonna see, again, that other tom trick that we had mentioned earlier, where he plays between that root and the 3rd and the 5th in this position. We're gonna see that quite a bit in this riff, and he includes a couple open strings, very common for him, but a really great riff. Let's give it a try. so good. I really love this one. It's so cool. It's kind of a cleaner guitar part. Super, super fun. So again, we're just gonna have more of this kind of thing going on. That kind of like 5, 4, 7. He's kind of in there a lot for this riff. So we're gonna go on the 5th string to the 4th string on the 4th fret, and then back to the 5th string. Really love thinking of these as the high part and the low part. So the stuff on the 4th string is gonna be the higher bit, 5th string is going to be the lower bit. I find it just helps my brain get settled. So I think of it actually as low, high, low, low, as opposed to the numbers. Just helps keep my brain straight on it. So that's going to be the first little pattern. So we've got 5, 4, 5, 5, 7, 5, 4. Okay, and there was some alternating strings in there, but you'll have the tabs to see that. And then after that, he's gonna hit the open A string to let him transition to that next chord. So we have, and then from there, he's gonna go to a B, and he's working around this kind of B power chord. Really neat. We have 2, 4, 2, 2, 5, 2, 4, 0. That same 0 is the kind of transitional note. And this one's interesting because he does go to an A after. So he kind of re-hits that open string. So we have 2, 4, 2, 2, 5, 2, 4, 0. And again, my brain, I'm thinking low, high, low, low, high, low, high, low. Then on the A chord, he's gonna switch things up a little bit. We're gonna start with the A string and then kind of an A power chord thing. Okay, so that initial part's the same, low, high, low, low. And then he's gonna do a little scale run to kind of make it a little more interesting. So he's gonna go on the 4th string, 5, 4, 2, 0. And then from there, he's gonna go to the 6th string. Again, Tom trick number 1, he's gonna go on the 6th string on the 3rd fret, and then he's gonna go to the octave on the 5th fret of the 4th string. So low, high, low, low. And then the same descending line. So 5, 4, 2, 0. And that's the riff. It's kind of a longer one, but again, this is a really good one to work on your picking. Like there's so many string changes in this one. It's really cool. I'll play the whole thing through a little bit slower, and then you can give it a try on your own. This next one, we're getting back into kind of a more power chordy style riff with Touchdown Boy. Really love the opening. This is very like, I don't know, it just feels very punk rocky to me. It's not like a really sophisticated guitar riff, it's just a bunch of power chords hit really hard, moving around. And there's something really raw and exciting about those that, I don't know, I instantly connect to. It's really, really fun to give it a try. So let's see what this sounds like. So it's just like raw, aggressive guitar playing. No nonsense, don't overthink it. The strum pattern is almost optional on this. You just kind of got to know when the chords are roughly shifting. It doesn't even really have to be in time because the time sometimes moves around a little bit, and that's totally cool. It's very in this style. So we're gonna start with an E power chord way up on the 9th and 7th frets. So we're gonna hit this one for basically a bar and then a little bit more is how I think of it, but we'll talk through it. So the strum pattern is this. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2. And then after that 2, we're gonna shift, take that chord down 1 fret. So same power chord just moves down, and it's and 4. So don't stress too hard, just really try to hear it with the recording. Okay, and then when we get down to the B, we have kind of a push, but it's very similar to the first E riff. So basically 1 full bar of that, and then we go down to an A power chord. And then so it's A to G sharp. That's a tough switch, but again, really good to work on kind of moving around. And then that takes us down to a low E power chord. So that's gonna be 0 and 2. Really cool. If you wanna do 3-finger power chords, that's cool. Again, this is punk rock music. If you're overthinking this stuff, you'll just run into more problems and defeats the purpose of this genre. But, so all together we have this. And then the second time is exactly the same. The only thing is you're just, instead of starting on that 7 and 9, you're gonna start on the 0 and 2 down here. On those, and then jump up before you do the kind of descent again. So the second half is just. And if you feel like throwing some extra strums in there, do it. It'll sound awesome. You know, this style of music, it's all about just getting that raw emotion into there. If you want to hit the guitar more times than what's in the tab, you should absolutely do that. It's just raw emotion is the main driver of this style of music as opposed to technical proficiency. So if you want to hit it more, great. If you want it to speed up, great. If you want it to slow down, great. It's just a matter of just getting that energy correct and you'll be on the right track. This next one is online songs. It doesn't start the tune off, but it's kind of the first guitar riff that comes in. Another tom trick, it's kind of that root 3rd, 5th thing coming back in and thinking of the lows and the highs with those kind of split, like low, high, low, low, high, low, high, low. Pretty much verbatim what we had learned in an earlier riff. So let's take a look at this one. So we're gonna start on the 6th string on the 5th fret, and then go to the 5th string on the 4th fret, and then go back to that 6th string 2 times, okay? And then we're gonna go to the 7th fret. I like to use my pinky, and then back to 5, 4, 5. So we have. And the trick is to palm mute. So you wanna take the meaty part here of your hand, shove it near the bridge of your guitar, and keep it planted. We want that kind of more chunky. You'll get more of a vibe to it when you add that palm muting in. Okay, and remember, keep in mind the lows and the highs because again, that pattern's the same, but in the second bar, you're just gonna switch between 5 on the 6th string and then 5 on the 5th string. So we have 6, 5, 6, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. And I'm talking string numbers, not fret numbers. It's all on the 5th fret. Still palm muted, and it's the exact same kind of movement as the first bar. So the first 2 bars go like this. And then you just repeat that 3 more times. So the first 3 times are just this. Then the final time you're gonna do the first bar. And then to finish it off, you're gonna play some D power chords. So, and they're all on the off beats, which makes this really hard when it gets into the kind of the Mach 10 speed that it's at. But again, just kind of like turn your brain off and just hope for the best and it'll probably work. And if it doesn't work, it'll still be fine. So just again, more aggression, really raw guitar playing. So let's just do the very final time. So it's. So this next one is Stay Together for the Kids. Really love this intro, super cool, nice clean guitar. Again, more of that trick around the root third, fifth. You'll see that a lot. So this kind of like that move, and we're also seeing a very similar bass line that's moving with a similar top part. Really interesting that he has kind of these tricks that he's going back to, but they definitely work. They sound awesome. And some open string goodness in between, very punk rocky to do that. So let's take a look. So the first thing we're gonna do is actually a unison note. This is actually a really cool trick to do on the guitar. So we actually are playing a D on the fifth string to the open D back to the D on the fifth string. It's cool. It kind of gives like a little wavery quality because it may not be perfectly in tune with itself. So really neat. And then we're gonna kind of have a similar top part in the first two chords. So we're gonna go 7, 0, back to that fifth fret on the fifth string, and then fourth fret open on the fourth string. Just like that. And then for the second bar, everything is the same, just that first note is gonna go from the fifth fret on the fifth string to the fourth fret on the fifth string. We get this really interesting half step. Really cool. So we have, you have to kind of get creative there with the fingering because it's a big stretch to get this and then back to that. I like pinky to get up to that seventh and then my middle for the fourth fret on the fourth string, but find what works best for you. So on the B power chord, we're gonna have this. Again, more stretching, but really cool sound. So we have fifth string, open fourth string, back to the fifth string, second fret, and then to the fourth fret of the fourth string, open fourth string, back to the second fret on the fifth string, fifth fret of the fourth string. You don't have to hold this down, you can let that go if that's too big of a stretch, and then to the open fourth string. And then we're gonna go kind of around the A power chord, but we're gonna break it up. We're gonna go, and then almost the same line from Benoit Balls at the end. That's sort of 4, 5, 4, 2, 0. It's almost the same way that he loops around in that one. So really cool. Let's put this whole riff together nice and slow. This is a really tough one. Again, picking wise, it's just like kind of a mess to get this one together. So really great to work on accuracy because you're switching all the time between the fifth and the fourth string. I'm doing all down picks like most of these riffs. And from there, he just repeats it pretty much identical. Like most of these, feel free to just kind of make it work for you. Cool, I love this riff. It is incredibly challenging to play at speed. I mess it up almost every time, but that's okay. It's, I don't know, there's something about this, again, it's that kind of like primal, like raw aggression that makes punk rock just so fun to play on the guitar. All of these notes, you could hit all the strings, it would probably work. It's kind of one of those, just like hit the guitar as hard as you can. If you happen to hit the right strings and the right notes, that's a bonus. Just like really dig in. So we're gonna start kind of like an earlier riff where we have the open sixth string and then the seventh fret of the fifth string. Instead of at the same time, he's gonna split it up, but if you hit it at the same time, it's fine. And then again, more sort of tom stuff where we're kind of going between root, third, fifth, this kind of like all in there. So we've got, so he does kind of that descending line. And then from there, it takes him to the open A. And then to an A power chord. So it's kind of a weird jump. And then here's where I always mess up, is going from this 2 back up to that 7. And this part is like a little bit messy sometimes live. I wouldn't overthink it. It's kind of 7, 9, 6, and then he kind of goes to the open fifth string. It's sort of that, there's some variances. There's so much distortion on this original recording. It can be kind of hard to hear, but we kind of have this vibe. And then from there, again, more sort of classic Blink-182 moves. We're gonna go around to C sharp, power chords, so 4 and 6. That same low, high, low, low. And then from there, we're gonna go to a B power chord. Really nice little move there, but low, high, low, high, low. Again, all down picks, don't stress. If you're just kind of wailing away, it'll still kind of work. Even if it's really messy, it still sounds good. But yeah, so for this one, it's kind of a hard one to teach because it's just like all over the place, like in the best way possible. And for me, I wanted to include this one because this kind of epitomizes how I feel about some of these Blink-182 riffs, where it's just about kind of getting the main gist of it and then letting your emotion take over and kind of guide you through the nitty-gritty of it. It's not something I would spend a ton of time on, like just getting like super precise note for note, because I don't think that's really the point of this music. I would just kind of look at these and kind of see the overarching theme, add your own personality. You know, it's punk rock music, probably a lot of angst you might be feeling. Get that out. This is the music to get that stuff out. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. There are tons of great Blink-182 riffs out there. These were just the 10 that I picked. Comment below which ones are your favorites, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.